I'm going to share with you how I negotiate for brokered opportunities on this segment of the Gig Geezer. If this is your first time checking out the Gig Geezer, if you're a returning visitor of the Gig Geezer, thanks for coming by. And if you would not mind, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. So I've talked about negotiating, how you need to know how you have to be skillful with negotiating in order to command the money that you think that you deserve when it comes to brokered opportunities, or for that matter, with any you can apply this to anything in life. And I've shown examples of of the actual results of some of the lows that I negotiated for, differences over the course of time. One example I showed, like my first 5 brokered opportunities that I negotiated, those had hovered around exactly $1 a mile. And then at various points subsequently, I showed how I had improved in negotiating abilities, and show examples of how the loads that I was getting were had doubled in terms of rate per mile. Now I don't like to spend a lot of time talking about rate per mile, but I'm just going to show you the dollars and cents. That's all that really matters. And so the examples that I'm going to give you, or the references that I'll make, are to 3 particular load opportunities, 2 of which in which I booked and completed, and then the third I didn't get it. Now, to start out, I most recently I put in for a load that had gone from Columbia, South Carolina, the Columbia Airport, in fact, to the Atlanta Airport, and that was this past Friday, January 17, 2025. Distance from Columbia Airport to Atlanta is 210 miles. This was supposedly a non-TWIC card, non-TSA card opportunity. It appeared that it was a hot run. When it's a hot run, it means that the broker really needs somebody to pick it up, and they would definitely desire that somebody is within an hour of the pickup, if not in the actual location. So in this particular case, as you see here on the inset, I indicated that I was empty in Columbia, South Carolina, which I was yesterday. I was literally from that point 30 minutes away from the airport, and I put in for $550. The broker replied, "550 is just too high." Well, my reply to the broker was, and this is where the negotiating process comes to. My reply to the broker was that, hey, 550 is my best. And I emphasize again, I'm empty in Columbia, South Carolina. Well, I never heard back from that broker. That tells me the broker went with somebody who may have been in the Columbia area, may not have been in the Columbia area, but was close enough. But more importantly, someone that he can afford. So I didn't lose any sleep over it. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. I didn't lose any sleep over it. But what I want to do is show you the contrast in how I've actually gotten load opportunities by negotiating the way I do. So, the opportunity in which I did get $550 actually occurred 3 weeks ago, in which the scenario was that I completed a run to the Charleston, South Carolina area, and that was a 175-mile trip, and it paid to $625. Upon I would say within 15-20 minutes of my having dropped off, I happened to notice a load that was from the Charleston area going to Atlanta. And so I put in for it. And I indicated that I was TSA 9 certified and had my TWIC card. I also indicated that the amount that I wanted on it was $550. So what I also understood from this appearing on the load board was that this was a hot run. And so I'm thinking, if it's a hot run, okay, pay me for it. And so, yes, I went with $550. I will tell you that many of the runs that I've completed from the Charleston area have been from $475 to $625. Many of them, though, have been for $475 because of a broker whom I did a lot of business with between November 2023 and through November 2024. Um, but I just felt 550 was a good number. And surprisingly, the broker replied, "Well, how soon can you get there?" Now, I was within an hour from that particular pickup location. And so, um, as you see here, the next correspondence was, okay, that'll work. Can I deliver direct? Well, to deliver direct means that can you go straight there? And I'm like, yes, I can. Um, then I also sent him a picture of my TWIC card and my TSA 9 certification. I keep a lot of things on my phone so that all I have to do is just send an email as needed. And so he went ahead and asked for the truck and driver information. That is a typical reply when you operate a Sprinter / cargo van. You do not have to give. You still have to give a truck number. It's just something about the way they do things, because apparently, they also deal with people who have fleets, and so that if you have a fleet of trucks, you may have a number for that truck, and then you provide the driver information, which is going to be yourself. If you're, like in my case, pretty much a one-man operation, but if you have other drivers, you give them that driver's name, then you'll give the dispatcher's name and their phone numbers. And so eventually he did send me the rate confirmation sheet. As you see here, you see where it's going to Delta and Atlanta. The weight, it says, according to the rate con sheet, was 200 pounds. Now the weight, according to the rate confirmation sheet, was 200 pounds, but those items did not weigh 200 pounds. In fact, here's the picture of those items right there. And as you see, going back to this picture, it says payment line haul $550, total $550. Now, the distance from that location to Atlanta was 275 miles, 280 miles. That is the route that I was going to take. However, I was going to Columbia regardless. And as it turned out, it's a good thing that I did go to Columbia, because I did not get the rate confirmation sheet until I got there, until I got to Columbia, meaning that I got to the Geezer compound. And so once I got to the Geezer compound, or it just so happened as I got to the Geezer compound, I was able to print out the documents and then go ahead on to Atlanta. Now, that all worked out for me. And so in my thinking, instead of this being really a 280-mile run, this was more like a 230-mile run, 235-mile run from my front door to the Atlanta airport, simply because I had already counted those miles, those deadhead miles back to Columbia from the Charleston run that I had already completed. So now I'm counting, I can do this based on the logic behind this. And so, again, so now I'm looking at 235 miles technically going to Atlanta, being paid $550. But as you can see here, this is why I asked for $550 from the opportunity that I saw just yesterday. That was my justification. And so, if you notice, one guy took it, the other guy didn't. Now, I mentioned about where I said that if you notice, I mentioned in my initial reply to that broker yesterday that 550 is my best. I'm going to show you an example where I used that with another broker, and that was a run back in July of last year, July 31st, ironically. And that run was from Charlotte to Wilmington, and as it turned out, it was to the shipyards. In fact, I did a video on that. I documented that run. And so, as you see here, it's the run is from Charlotte to Wilmington, 199 miles. And as I replied with my TSA 9 TWIC card information that I had one, I eventually had this. I sent my TWIC card, sent an email with my TWIC card and TSA 9 certification. I asked for $500. Well, we're going to come back to this one, but I want to move and show you what ended up happening. Okay, so a lot of times the broker will come back with the specifics of the run, and sometimes you miss out on booking something because this is what some are bound to do. They have to tell you, okay, it's a pickup as soon as possible. There's 3 pieces to pick up, and you have to show your TWIC card and blah 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 blah. You need to be macro point. In other words, for macro point, you've got to be willing to be tracked. That's the way they document that you actually delivered. So I came back and said, yes, $500 is what I want. Then the broker replied, that 350 is his best. And then I came back and said 425 is my best. Well, going back to that initial one with Wilmington, you see at the bottom there, that is the rate confirmation sheet on the left, and then these were the airline documents for pickup, and then the bill of lading that was that accompanied this particular order or this gig opportunity. And so these were the other documents that accompanied this opportunity. So there you have it. Very quickly, there's not a lot to a negotiating process. I know that people have done videos about this, but in my particular case, having done more than my share of brokered opportunities since 2023, you kind of get into a certain rhythm of how you do things. As I mentioned in a past segment of the Gig Geezer, you're going to have 1, maybe 2 rounds of negotiating. Very rarely you're going to get a third one, but basically, you can't get, the bottom line still is that you can't get the business unless you ask for it. And so when you go around asking for your $1 a mile, your 98.99 a mile, your $1.10 a mile, that's on you ultimately, because I mean, if that's what you ask for, that's what you're going to get. But there is money out there to be made. It's on you to ask for it. So that's all I have to share for this particular segment of the Gig Geezer. Hopefully you got something out of it. And if you like the content that's been provided in this segment or in any other segment, hit that subscribe button. Give my content a thumbs up. Share my content among others, and I definitely welcome comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane as always. May your grind and may your hustle continue.